Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway, broadcasting from the GSMC Podcast Network. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope that your Thanksgiving meal was as hellacious as mine. The onslaught was masterful. It was fried turkey, brown turkey, white turkey, chicken flavored turkey, every type of turkey that you could think of. It was great. Probably ate more than I should have, as all of us did. However, that's good because we're able to eat and then, chill out and revive ourselves and feel better. So hopefully everyone is feeling well, I hope. And while you're out shopping right now, spending a bunch of dollars, helping our economy, hope you can go ahead and play this GSMC basketball podcast. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about the Wednesday night matchups, the return of Kevin Durant to OKC, which was everything you'd expect it to be. The Celtics finally lost a game, and the trade of Air Jordan. No, Michael Jordan hasn't come back. That's just the tagline that I put in there for you to listen. Oh, the games. No, DeAndre Jordan from the Clippers, because they've lost 9 straight games, and it's been a problem. So, on Wednesday, Kevin Durant returned to OKC after doing an interview with Bleacher Report. Inside of an article that talked about how he eventually would like to have his number retired in Oklahoma, and he was hurt that this season they actually gave it to someone else. They didn't just give it to anybody. They gave it to an undrafted free agent. So, no disrespect to that guy, but they gave it to basically a guy that they just were like, hey, do you want to play basketball? And he was like, yeah, sure. I want to play basketball. I've been playing basketball all my life. I want to play like really bad. Like, what's your name? They're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Here's this number 35. Wear this and just be yourself. Just be you. Just don't be some 6'10" guy that leaves us to go play on the team that beat us in the finals, in the conference finals. Don't do that. And that's what they did. They gave away the number. Durant said he was hurt by it. He said, but he understands. He said he used to be offended by the cupcake thing because Wednesday night was his first time returning since the first time he returned last year when they were calling him a cupcake, holding these cupcake signs. I don't really understand what that does. I'm not really 100% sure how a cupcake is just this outstanding level of disrespect. Doesn't really do it for me. Anyhow, after that interview, which is great timing, they wrote the interview, then released it prior to him going to OKC. That just makes sense. To me, that's great branding. That's great. Just get everybody up for the game. And as we know, OKC's been having their own struggles. They've lost prior to winning this game against the Warriors. They had lost 4 straight games. So they were on their own little losing streak because they're still working on their chemistry with the recent additions of Paul George and the infamous Carmelo. So basically it was a solid game. Westbrook had, I don't even have to tell you, Westbrook had 34, 10 and 9, and KD had a nice 22 points. He wasn't really feeling like himself. He wasn't the common KD. Was a little hurt. And Carmelo and Paul George both contributed with 20 points. So that's a solid round of scoring for OKC, 20, and 34. They continue to do that. You might be looking at something that's going to be a little bit impressive. After the game, Durant was asked about the game and him and Russell Westbrook going there. He said it's all fun and games. Doesn't take anything serious. Doesn't take that personally. He said it was easier to come back this time than the last time because he said that he felt like people said anything they had to say the last time, which probably means that they're just kind of over it. You know, even though the buzz is still there, the buzz is great. So the hype of him coming back is still there, but probably like they're probably not that fans probably aren't that hurt anymore. Like as far as even some fans of losing teams, they seem to have like really long memories, but fans of winning teams, their memories are kind of short as far as like despair goes, because the OKC has like pretty much always been a playoff team since they've been a team. So they lose a star player. It's a big deal one year. Then the next year, it's like, okay, well, we got the MVP and he averaged a triple double. And we went to the second round of the playoffs. And now we have Paul George and Carmelo. So we're fine. So they're not really tripping they're not tripping this year. Like they're fine. They bounce back. It's not a big deal. It's not like when Cleveland like lost LeBron and they're like, oh my God, we were always terrible. Now we're going to be terrible forever because he's gone. They just always hated LeBron. Even though they did boo Kevin Durant when he came out, and they did boo him every time he had the ball. But booing's not that big of a deal really, because to me, I personally, I can't be offended by a boo. I mean, we've been booing people for what? Like 1,000 years? Boo. That's not even that crazy. It's a sound. It's not even a thing. Like to curse someone out is like giving someone a word, or to be disrespectful is saying something that you probably wouldn't say to someone around your mother. But a sound, a boo, doesn't do it for me. I think it's the most overrated sign of dissatisfaction that we have. There's way more creative ways to boo. Anyway, Kevin Durant said it's all fun and games, and he said he felt a little bit more relief versus the last time he was here. Westbrook said it's just another game. I go at him like I go at anybody, and then he listed just an array of players he's going to go at when the next games come. And Westbrook is right. He's always up. Like Westbrook plays. It doesn't even look like he even knows who he's playing against. He just plays, period. And I had a conversation with a colleague the other day, and we were looking at like old Derrick Rose highlights, and it basically said something like, actually I posted it to the Twitter. If you go follow us on Twitter at GSMC_basketball, and you'll see a video I posted of when Derrick Rose won the MVP. And it's amazing because Derrick Rose plays the same way as Westbrook. However, Westbrook pulls up for more mid-range shots. It seems like that takes a little bit of pressure off the legs. I also want to know how two players that got injured bounce back in completely different ways, because Westbrook, he's had a couple injuries, but he's better. Ever since Derrick Rose's injury, he hasn't been anywhere near MVP status. And I just looked up some stuff and found out that Westbrook does workouts that concentrate on him exploding in the key without necessarily getting injured, and like no one has seen his actual workouts because they're shrouded in secrecy. So I'm thinking that like that's a competitive advantage, right? So I don't know what Derrick Rose's workouts are. I just know he rehabbed back and came back and wasn't himself. But for Westbrook to get hurt and then come back and be better, that's weird to me. Not like an Adrian Peterson, like come back and then be better for a season and then, eventually not be good anymore because you're an older running back meaning 30. But just to be a better basketball player and just continue to get better and better and better. He's been in the league for 10 years. During the game, they were going at it. So Westbrook got like a steal. It rolled off Durant, and they got face to face. They got face to face in each other's faces. Like really, like Kevin Durant got in Westbrook's face. Like they like bumped foreheads. They weren't gonna do anything. It's like Lonzo said last week. It's the NBA. No one's gonna fight. And even when they did get face to face, I think no one even really kind of got in the middle. Somebody did the thing where they put the back of the hand on someone's number, like, "Hey man, move." Like it wasn't, "Hey," when you jump in front of somebody and grab the shoulders and then say, "Hey, don't do that. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it." It wasn't one of those situations. It was like, "Hey man, stop. Go shoot the free throw." And then Kevin Durant was clapping, doing the thing you do when you want to get lively. And this is interesting because no one's going to fight, right? And the Warriors didn't clear the bench. There weren't a bunch of Warriors like running over. There weren't a bunch of OKC players running over. People just like kind of just stood there and like laughed it off, right? And it's an interesting contrast because everyone knows nobody's going to fight. But when Lonzo did this like last week, it was like, oh my God, like Lonzo's Benedict Arnold. I can't believe he would do this. Like I can't believe Lonzo threw his teammates under the bus. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. So this is just a contrast to show that I have nothing to do with it. It's just a contrast that people will probably say anything to be disrespectful to Lonzo Ball because he was right. No one in NBA ever fights. So they got head to head. They said some things back and forth to each other, some words that when you look at them on television, you can tell what they're saying, which is, I'm happy that the NBA does that because even though I know they try to take the camera off of people when they're saying certain things, but I love that they do that because it adds more authenticity to the game. Because if you've ever played a pickup game, you know it gets lively. So I can't imagine what an NBA game would be like, especially against a rival team. So I like that the NBA doesn't turn the camera away while these guys are like saying things that we can't hear but we can read because we all know what those words sound like. I think it's outstanding. I also appreciate the way how everyone's a lip reader when it comes to these curse words. Like you couldn't read someone saying, I don't know, chocolate milk across the street, but on a television screen, you can see someone say, you know, one of those. Yeah. So, even though Durant and Westbrook, they said it was another game, which is fine. And I think it's been, I think the beef that they had has been overblown. And because I think that they're probably over each other being, I think they're both over. I think KD said in his article he's over it. And Westbrook won the MVP, average triple-double. He's probably gotten better. And his GM stepped up and brought him in some people. And this is great. This is great because I'm aware this trade wasn't popular. KD leaving wasn't popular. And that's fine. However, this is better than KD. The argument was Kevin Durant didn't have to leave a good team to go to a better team because his team was already good. But that just makes the rivalry better. I'm going to tell you why. When players leave like teams that they're carrying to go somewhere else, it's not really, in a way, I'm going to say that it affects our competitive level and affects the regular season games. Why, you may ask? Because we have a team that's just completely garbage and doesn't mean anything anymore. So like when LeBron left the Cavs and went to the Heat, it was a problem, right? Because the Cavs just aren't going to be good anymore, ever. There won't be any rivalry. When the Heat show up, they're going to get booed, but the Heat's going to smash them by 50 buckets. And there's no rivalry there. There's just Cavs fans that don't like the Heat. Now, because NBA like rivalries are more player based, other than like these historic rivalries between like the Celtics and the Lakers, which again aren't good unless the players are there. Like the last time the Celtics Lakers rivalry was good was, I mean, when Kobe was going up against the big three, we'll say four, including Rondo, that's when that was good. And then prior to that, it was a trillion years prior to that, which I'm going to talk about later on. And so because Kevin Durant left a good team and went to a better team and his old team is still good, we actually have a rivalry. Versus if he left there and they were garbage, then he just go in there, they boo him for what? And then they lose by like 90. So that I believe that's why we're accepting of this trade, because a team just didn't fall into the abyss. If OKC just fell into the abyss and was like, no, we're garbage now, we're never to be heard of again, then that it'd be that. I'll give you a better example. I'll give you a way better example. There was a time when the Clippers and the Warriors had a rivalry. And as you see now, since Chris Paul has left, the Clippers are, they're not very good. I'm not going to say that they're trash. I'm not going to say they're garbage, because all those words are rude. I'm just going to say that as of right now, they're moribund. They're moribund. Look it up. And let's say CP3 left the Clippers and went to the Warriors, and then the Clippers were dead. They were corpse. They're just bad. Now we don't even have the rivalry anymore. We just have fans that are going to boo CP3 when he comes back to the Warriors. Warriors are smashed them by like 90, which the Warriors already do. And you don't have a rivalry. And now you have this thing where they dislike each other, but it doesn't matter. Versus now we actually have a real rivalry because both teams are still good. So we love this. Like, we genuinely love that he left and then went to a team that's better because the rivalry is still there. Just like Kyrie and the Celtics. If Kyrie went to somewhere that was just complete trash, we wouldn't even care. But now we can't wait till he plays the Cavs. We can't wait. And even though Kevin Durant and Westbrook want to tell us that this rivalry, that they just play and it's competitive, it's all fun and games, they're winning, that's how they do. Mark Jackson commented they've probably done that in practice, gotten each other's faces time and time again. I'm sure they have, which is fine. I personally, as a fan of the sport, I personally enjoy the rivalry because Westbrook also isn't some guy that's just going to put his head down and say, oh, woe is me, Kevin Durant left, I'm never going to be anything in life, I'm just going to jump off a bridge. No, he's like, I'm just going to get better because I'm going to be better and I'm the Ross. And he's better and the team is better. Another reason we love this. I'll tell you why we love this. OKC let Harden walk and they let Durant walk. And then after watching Westbrook get average a triple-double, they're like, you know what? We can't let him walk. Then they gave him $250 million. Yes. No, not a quarter. 1/5 of $1 billion, which is still outrageous. No. They gave him 1/5 of $1 billion, correct? And they're like, yo, we got to bring some people in. So this put pressure on the GMs. Now they got Melo and they got Paul George. And who knows? Maybe somehow, some way they can get Air Jordan. I'm going to get into that later too when I talk about the Air Jordan trade. So the game went well. OKC kind of let the Warriors have it, 108-91, and West played pretty good. It was a good game. It was solid. I'm looking forward to the playoff matchup if they both make it that far. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about how the Celtics have finally lost and why it's a great thing that they lost and how much you appreciate and how much you should appreciate their winning streak, even though it ranks, I think it's 20 something, and among other NBA win streaks, it ranks 23rd. But I'll get to that when I get back. You guys stay tight. Log on to the Twitter. Let me know if you watch the game at GSMC_basketball. And let me know if you think OKC actually has a chance to win the championship. Let me know. I'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway, on the GSMC Podcast Network. You guys can follow us at GSMC_basketball on the Twitter machine. I just got done wrapping up, letting you guys know that OKC went ahead and did what they had to do against my beloved Warriors. I had to let them hold that L because Russell Westbrook wasn't going to let them just show up and just do whatever they wanted to do. This ain't the kind of place where you're going to you run up on Russell Westbrook and just do whatever you want to do. It doesn't quite work that way. Within that, I went ahead and told you guys about how we enjoy NBA rivalries, how when they're more player-based than they are, let's say, team-based. One of those player-based rivalries is going to be when the Celtics finally run up on the Cavs in the playoffs. We're really very much looking forward to that. However, just recently, the Celtics on Wednesday lost their first game since they started their win streak. They got down double digits to the Heat, which wasn't a big deal because they've been down double digits multiple times and to dig themselves out. They've been down 18 to the Thunder, 18 to the Hornets, 17 to the Warriors, 16 to the Hawks, and 13 to the Mavericks. Those are some deficits. Like, those are serious. Those are some, like, so it wasn't like the Warriors win streak or the Cavs win streak where they were like dogging teams. Like, and you know, like, we're up 30, just bench all the starters. They're going down buckets and then coming back. So that's why I'm going to get into this in a second, but that's why I think the win streak was really good for the NBA, because if for the most part, it forced you to watch every Celtics game, which I think wouldn't have been that important if they weren't winning every single game, just because they don't have necessarily the star power that makes people turn in to watch every single game. Like, oh my God, I want to see Jaylen Brown. Oh my God, I want to see Tatum. Like, they're not at that point. Oh my God, I got to see Horford. You want to see Kyrie. You want to see Kyrie do it nasty, disgusting, hellacious, and one dribbles. But you don't really want to see them play, especially because they're a defensive team. They're not getting mad buckets. However, with that streak, it brought a new level of interest to the Celtics, in my opinion. Al Horford said, "It's tough, but I'm proud of this group. It wasn't like we were necessarily dominating during the streak, but the will of this team is something that needs to be accounted for," which is 100% correct. If they were dominating every game, it wouldn't really be that impressive anyway. Like, it'd be like, okay, whatever, like, cool. Okay. And it'd be fun to check into the score and say, oh, they won another one, but it wouldn't be worth tuning every game in, because eventually they're going to lose. Right. So when you have a streak like this, I'm going to tell you why we like this. Every game, I'm going to say, yeah, every game is going to have an immeasurable amount of effort given by the team that's on the streak. Why? Because they want to win. Like, so it's kind of, I'm going to say it's the closest thing to the playoffs that you're going to get during regular season period. Once you get to, I believe, a streak in the NBA, when you start winning enough games for people to notice, I think it's about 5. Anyone can win 3. Now, I'm not going to say anyone can win 3 straight. I don't want to discount anyone's efforts, but I'm going to say usually when you get to win like 5 straight games, that's when the sports world low key loses their minds. Like, oh my God, 5 straight championship. So it probably takes about 5 straight games. So once a team wins that many games, it's like, okay, well, now we're looking for them to lose because it's a streak, right? We want to find out what's going to happen. We like this because of the Celtics being an underdog as well, that were dominating a streak. So we're not necessarily talking about, well, for the most part, the whole Eastern Conference is full of underdogs, especially because of what the Cavs are working with right now. Even though LeBron has put the Cavs on a 6-game winning streak, and I'm not gonna say they're starting to look like the Cavs. I'm just gonna say LeBron is doing historic things to keep the team afloat. So because the Celtics are such an underdog, that's another reason that made this streak. That's another reason that made the streak really formidable. It made us want to tune in. It made us want to watch. I don't even know how it was possible that they were even capable of winning that many games in a row. I mean, 16 games is a lot. Like, it's a lot of games to win in a row. A lot. And it ranks number 22 in NBA history, but it's the 4th winning streak in Celtics history. So I think that that's something to be accounted for. Actually, I'm going to say it's 4th, but technically it's tied for 4th because there was another team that won 16 straight. That was the 64 Celtics. No, not 64 individual Celtics, but 1964. Yeah, it was a while ago. So that's why I'm going to say the Celtics rank 4th place. And then I'm not going to say they're tied for 4th because the other record is a little old. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a millennial right now and just say what happened right now is the most important. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to do. Sorry. I'm born in the 80s. That's what I'm going to do. Millennial life. So, and that Celtics team went on to beat the Lakers in the finals. The next best record was 17 straight games. That was a little bit older. That was the 59 Celtics. But I have a few family members that were born in 59, so I'm gonna respect that year. And plus they had Bill Russell. So that counts. I can't say that doesn't count. They won 17 straight games. And then they won 8 consecutive titles. Like, so that team was a big deal as well. Then you got the 82 Celtics that had Larry Bird, and they lost the finals to Julius Erving and them. And our most memorable Celtics history, because they weren't around that long ago. In 2008 Celtics, you know, with the squad, with those green men, with the Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, and the infamous Rondo. It was interesting that year. They were balling and they had just won the championship, and then Kevin Garnett had got hurt, so they weren't able to do the whole repeat thing. So I would tip my hat to them, because it's with the trade of Kyrie Irving, they've went ahead and already marked themselves in Celtics history as having the 4th best win streak in Celtics history. So I mean, that's a win. That's a win for them overall. I personally believe that it's best that they lost the streak. Kyrie said it was time for them to lose, just because every game has pressure. I think that because everything has pressure, it's a great time for us to watch as fans, just because they have to play every game like it's their last, Allen Iverson voice. But when you have to go out there and play every single game, you get burnt out. And regardless of what we want to admit, how they should play every game, period, and no resting players, I'm going to ask all you fans out there. I want to ask you this. This is the truth, 100%. Do you really want your NBA team playing all 82 games like each one of them matters? I honestly, like, now, maybe if you're like a fan of a bad team, I guess I understand the logic in that, but I don't either, because if they're bad, why are they playing so hard? And if their team is really good, the playoffs are going to come. So the whole rest, it's like this, right? We got 82 games, and we don't want players playing that hard the whole season, just because it's basketball and things happen, odds, all that type of stuff. But yet you don't want them resting. So you want someone to suit up and only like go half speed. You see the quandary there? Do you see the dilemma in what I'm saying? Kyrie said it's a good thing that they lost, just because it's a burnout. And honestly, some games don't matter. And that lets you know right there, for a player to say it's a good thing we lost. Why? Because if you're playing a whole bunch of games that aren't necessarily going to make that big of a difference, and then when the playoffs come, your team's going to be burnt. When the Warriors went 73-9, Steph Curry ended up getting hurt playing against the Rockets, and his knee or his thigh, whatever happened when he slipped on the wet area in the Toyota Center. It was never the same. He didn't play bad. He just wasn't the same. And they end up losing to the Cavaliers. I don't have any excuses, but he just wasn't the same. And I'm not going to say that's because they went 73-9, but I am going to say that, plus when they went 73-9, Steph Curry wasn't playing fourth quarters, which is outstanding. But the more games you have to play that hard, those are the more miles you put on the body. I talked about this with Derrick Rose and Westbrook just earlier. With Westbrook pulling up for more mid-range jumpers than Derrick Rose over the course of the beginning of their careers, or probably over the course of when Derrick Rose was the most hellacious offensive player in the NBA compared to when Westbrook is. And it looks like, from what I gather, from what I can see with my basketball eye, is that Westbrook pulls up for more mid-range shots. And that saves, 15 different drives per game. 15 drive and explosive jumps over the course of 82 games. I don't know. That's a lot. I can't do the math right now. I think it might be about 800 and maybe 1300 drives, 1,300 times you drive in, jump your highest, and bang on somebody or do a reversal. And they don't go to the cup softly. Like, I'm not taking anything away from Kyrie or Curry, who get to the cup, do a little willy-nilly reversal, or give them a nice finger roll, a nice floater. But when Derrick Rose and Westbrook would go to the cup, they go to the cup. So we're talking about exploding. Over the course of playing that often, you get wear and tear and tear and tear and tear, and things happen. So I completely agree with Kyrie by saying it's about time they lost, because what do you guys want them to do? You guys want them to win every single game? They're going to win 70 straight and then go to the playoffs and just be completely exhausted, which may be what have happened last year. The Celtics had the number 1 seed and the Cavs were like, psh, number 1 seed. Take it. Go ahead. Have that. Have it. You know what? Have the number 1 seed. put it on, get it painted on your shirt, enjoy it. Here's a t-shirt for you. You take the number 1 seed. Do it. You get a bye? No? Oh, cool. What do you get? You get a championship? No? Oh, cool. Oh, well, enjoy your number 1 seed. I'm going to be over here. The Wizards said, well, John Wall said the Cavs purposely didn't take the number 1 seed because they wanted to avoid the Wizards. I think the Cavs weren't fighting for the number 1 seed because it doesn't matter. It's not football where you're going to get a bye. All you're going to do is just play a different team, whether they be 7 or 8. So why? I don't really want to say why go that hard, but why give that level of effort for the regular season? The regular season is the qualifier. That's the qualifier. That's just to get to the dance. And if you got enough players that you're confident that you don't really care about where you get into the dance at, then so be it. As long as you get to, if you're like, yo, we can get 4th place and still win a chip, it doesn't even matter. Fine. If you're an 8th seed team just trying to get to the show, like the Lakers, they're just trying to get to the show. If you're one of those squads, hey, baby, we just trying to get to the show. Can we get tickets to the show, baby? How much are the tickets to the show? We've been waiting 10 years to get tickets to the show, baby. If you're trying to get tickets to the show, I understand. Play every single game like it's your last because y'all not going to win them all. But as far as the streak goes, streak schmeek. Nobody's trying to be out here getting the most hurt for a streak. OKC right now, they're in 8th place. Utah is in 8th. Utah is in 9th. The Lakers are in 10th. So, with that being said, they're trying to get to the dance. They're trying to get to the show. However, with the Celtics already know they're going to the show. And Kyrie saw that. And it's interesting because during Kyrie's departure from OKC, along with just Tim talk, he said he learned a lot from LeBron. And they asked LeBron about, does he have any words for Kyrie on his new team? And LeBron jokingly said, no, I kind of wish I took some stuff back. In the way, like, I wish I wouldn't have gave him so much game. And maybe this is something Kyrie learned from LeBron. Like, hey, I'm glad we lost because we don't need to be, we need to win 10 more games. Like, cause some of those games you want to just be practicing, right? Like we're practicing stuff, taking shots, going through the motions. So you go to play a scrub team, not a scrub team. Let me calm down on my word. I don't want to be disrespectful. So you go to play like the Hawks, they're 3-15. You go to play them. And instead of working on new stuff and working your bench and trying to perfect and workshop new strategies, you're trying your hardest to beat the Hawks. And instead of the Hawks just taking the L from you because they know, instead of the Hawks just taking the L from you because they know you're better than them, you haven't lost a game since, I don't know, October. And so they have a reason to play. So that's another reason we love these streaks, because the teams that are at the bottom of the barrel teams, we know that they have no reason to play. But if they show up against a great team, like, hey, you know what? This team hasn't lost a game in a while. They might be tired. They may take a night off, and then we can get in the news a little bit. I'm going to try to score 30 tonight. Why not? My mama watching because we play in the Celtics, and she loves Kyrie. We're not winning the games, so I'm just going to get this W tonight. So why go through that? If you lose a game now when you go show up against those teams, they already know they're going to take the L. But when you're walking around looking like Goliath, hey, I mean, David might just have that stone ready for you. With that, I congratulate the Celtics on their outstanding tear through the NBA for that 16 straight games. Bless up, Celtics. When I get back, I'm going to talk to you guys about trading Air Jordan. No, not from the Wizards, not from the Bulls, from the Clippers. Not the Air Jordan you're talking about. Dre Jordan. Dre Jordan trade. We'll talk to you about that when I get back. Check us out at GSMC _basketball on the Twitter machine. And let me know if you this is my question to you guys. Sorry about that. I got a little tongue tied. Here's my question. Let me know this. I want to know if you think that your team should play all 82 games 100% with all the effort required all the time. I'd like a personal opinion. I'd like a personal opinion on that. I will be back. Thank you for your patience.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway, on the GSMC Podcast Network. Hopefully you guys are still recovering. Hopefully you guys are all recovered from your food comas and you're out spending all the money required to boost the economy. I appreciate that because I'm not doing any shopping because you people are way too dedicated. Because I saw the freeways this morning. When I was coming in here to go ahead and record this show for the culture, I saw the freeways this morning and people already had bags on top of cars. I saw a lady riding a reindeer. It was crazy. It was ridiculous. It was eccentric. I'm happy you guys are out there doing that because that just means that things should be a little bit cheaper after Christmas. So thank you for doing that. I thank you guys very much. I thank you. Speaking of things that are on sale, that's a great segue. That's almost perfect. So, as you know, I'm not going to say as you guys know, maybe you don't. The Clippers let Chris Paul walk. No, he didn't walk. He was traded. Chris Paul walked. Chris Paul was traded over to the Houston Rockets and traded for Patrick Beverley and some other pieces. And in the beginning of the season, it looked like the Clippers did a good job on this trade because, well, Chris Paul ended up getting hurt, and then James Harden was putting on a show. In the first game, it looked like Chris Paul would like slow the game down, but then he got hurt. Then Chris Paul came back, and James Harden was like, "Hey, welcome back, Chris Paul, 48 points." So they're doing fine. And then the Clippers started off 4-0, especially after Beverly welcomed Lonzo Ball to the NBA with a whole bunch of incredible petty fouls that weren't called by refs. That's another story though. And they went 4-0, so it's like, yay, Clipper time. And then reality kicked in. They have lost 9 straight. So it's been a problem, and it looks like they're considering not blowing up the whole team, but maybe moving DeAndre Jordan just because his numbers. He's averaging 13 and 10, which are his lowest numbers he's averaged in 5 years. And I would say this is an obvious result of Chris Paul not being there anymore. This is similar to the Steve Nash effect when he was no longer playing with Shawn Marion or Amari Stoudemire, and they just weren't the same. Things were just different. So it's one of those things. I want to say Tyson Chandler's point per game average was higher when he played with Chris Paul as well in New Orleans, just because Chris Paul is that guy. Chris Paul makes players better. He distributes the rock. He can score. He's a floor general. He's just a great player. I like Chris Paul. I'm a big fan. I'm CP3 all the way. So their idea now is to possibly move DeAndre Jordan because they gave him a 4-year contract for $90 million with a 15% trade kicker. Several years ago, when the Clippers felt like they were still going to be relevant. Well, they were still trying to be relevant. They had Blake. They had CP3, they had Dre Jordan, they had Jamal Crawford. They had this JJ Redick, they had this bench. They had like a nucleus for the most part. And DeAndre Jordan didn't want to play there anymore. Something about him not wanting to play under Chris Paul or Doc Rivers, something like that. I can't verify that 100%, but I know he just wanted to be like around different people or something. Like, I'm not 100% sure. That's just what I read at that time. And he was in the process of signing with the Mavericks. So Mark Cuban had signed him. He met with Mark Cuban. They had a deal on the table. I think it was going to be something. It was going to be $100 million. It's going to be something pretty nice. And when he was ready to sign it, word got back to the Clippers that he was leaving, and all the Clippers went to go meet with DeAndre Blake and Doc Rivers and CP3 and Clipper Nation, and people wearing red, white, and blue jerseys. Billy Crystal was there. Everybody, the Staples Center, all the Clippers fans they got when they went to Staples Center, they were on this massive Skype, and the Clippers organization, Steve Ballmer, he works for Microsoft, so he got this massive projector, then aimed it at a cloud over DeAndre Jordan's house, and they reflected the whole fandom over this cloud, so DeAndre Jordan could see how much he was loved. None of that happened, but that sounds funny. So basically, they went to his house to try to get him back, and he ended up signing with them. It was interesting because Mark Cuban went to his house. He just showed up like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, and you don't really just show up at somebody's house, but it just goes to show like how much of, I guess, of how normal Mark Cuban is. He's not a billionaire that's like removed from like life that much. Mark Cuban didn't send a guy like, "Hey, go check on DeAndre Jordan." Mark Cuban just went to DeAndre Jordan's house himself, just knocked on the door like, "Hey, DeAndre Jordan here? Like, what's going on? We're supposed to sign a deal. I'm not very happy about this. I'm dissatisfied with our communication." He couldn't contact me and just left or whatever. So that was a funny part of that whole situation. So DeAndre Jordan ends up signing with the Clippers. The Clippers can't get it together. Chris Paul leaves now, and Patrick Beverley's hurt. Now they're just kind of existing, and they just gave Blake Griffin $100 million. Now they're thinking, if things can't get better, think about trading DeAndre Jordan, which is, here's the thing. So I'm gonna give a little bit of life advice within today's podcast. I usually try to like help the people. I try to help the culture. For you guys that are listening, I like to help people. I consider myself a master of personal development because I have read probably 3.5 self-help books. So I don't know. I feel like I'm a self-prescribed professional. When things aren't like working out, when somebody's running away from you, when someone's running away, I'm all about persistence. I'm all about being consistent. I'm all about resilience, 100%. But sometimes the universe tells you certain things. Now, DeAndre Jordan was running away from the Clippers. Like, he went to Dallas, was in process of signing with Mark Cuban, didn't want to tell them, and he just didn't want to be there anymore. Word got around. Clippers, we're going to your house. We'll talk him in the stand. No. It doesn't work. That's not how that works. The universe told you, hey, this isn't going to work out. He's running away. When someone's running away, when they're running, I don't care what the movies tell you. When somebody's running in the airport or they're on a plane, you don't run through an airport and run onto the plane, grab somebody and kiss them and say, "No, I love you forever, you're staying." No. People are running. You gotta let them run. Let them go away. And they say if you love it, you let it out of the cage. And if it comes back, you know it's there to stay. That's a Jay-Z quote. I'm not going to say Jay-Z made that up, but I mean, it's from one of his songs. So yeah, in life, sometimes you guys got to listen to the universe. I'm not saying don't be persistent. I'm not saying don't be resilient. I'm not saying don't be consistent. I'm saying don't be stubborn, because sometimes you got to let it go. I think you gotta let it go. So that's my vocal for the day. Anyhow, they didn't let it go, and DeAndre Jordan went ahead and made a pressured decision that he didn't feel like he should make, but he was ganged up on. Even though he's 7 foot, he's still a young guy. He's not used to making these type of decisions. All of his friends popped up at his house, and they're like, "Hey, DeAndre Jordan, like, please come back. Like, we love you. Like, please come back." And he made a decision because they all popped up at his house. Again, he's not like a master business negotiator. He's still a young guy. He's 29 years old, and they ran up on him, and then he had to make a split decision. Now they want to trade him, and the Clippers aren't happy with his contract, and they owe him $90 million, and he's a 15% trade kicker. So he doesn't have a no trade clause, but if he gets traded, they owe him 15% of his contract. Isn't that a good deal? It's awesome. With all of that, I'm kind of excited about it because I feel like DeAndre Jordan could be much more of a help on a different team, because he's the type of player where even though he's a great defender, he rebounds the ball really well. I think he would do better somewhere where they scored points, or somewhere where they played great defense, or just a team that was relevant, because the Clippers aren't anymore. I'm wondering whether or not OKC will be willing to make a move with Steven Adams. I mean, Steven Adams is an animal. I mean, he plays solid defense, and I know he's Russ's buddy. That's his guy. However, if you could get DeAndre Jordan with D and Hops, you guys have a whole different team. Maybe that even entices Paul George to stay there. Who knows? I think they might be able to work something out. Something else diabolical I was thinking about. I'm not sure. I don't really know how this will work, but the Celtics are doing really well. They owe Gordon Hayward $120 million, and he just got hurt. Celtics are doing well. Their main focus right now is defense. Is defense, and Kyrie is getting buckets. I know Kyrie is capable of throwing a lob. I wonder what will happen if I'm just saying. I know the Celtics worked really hard to get Hayward, but he's hurt, and we don't know what's going to happen. So if they want to, they owe him some money, and the Clippers they want a new look and they want a new start. They want a scorer. So would the Clippers be willing to trade DeAndre Jordan for the possibility of Gordon Hayward's contract? It's a lot of money, but Gordon Hayward is cold. He's a cold player. Now, if he comes back from the injury the same way that Paul George came back from his situation, that was not the best thing to watch on television, then I think maybe we're on to something. And it might be a good look. Because this is what Danny Ainge did with Isaiah Thomas. Like, hey, you got this hip thing. We don't really owe you any money. But, I mean, maybe you should go over there. They can do the same thing with Gordon Hayward. They get DeAndre Jordan over there on the Celtics. Kyrie has somebody to throw lobs to, and their defense gets even better. And they rebound the ball even better. And Dre is a great rebounder. DeAndre Jordan's a lot. I want to say a lot like Dwight Howard, but without the pressure. I feel like because of Dwight Howard's personality and because of his Orlando uniform, people so desperately want him to be Shaq. From Orlando to the Lakers, they wanted him to be Shaq. They really wanted him to be that. If you minus Dwight Howard, like Shaq expectations, Dwight Howard's a solid player. He'll give you a double-double. So is Dre Jordan. They both aren't the best free throw shooters, but they're Docker double-double. They play great defense. They'll block some shots and pull the ball down. I think that he would be a great fit on the Celtics or OKC. They can make it work somehow, some way. I mean, I'm thinking Rockets, but they'd have to give up Capella, and I feel like you'd rather have Capella than Dwight Howard. Now, when it comes to the Warriors, this is my question. JaVale McGee he's solid off the bench, and when the Warriors go small ball, they wouldn't necessarily have Dre Jordan in. But I feel like Dre Jordan is a much better defender, shot blocker, and rebounder than JaVale McGee. Dre Jordan is actually better than all the Warriors centers, Jaja and JaVale. So it might be something to think about. They would have to pay him a grip of money, but I mean, just have, you know what, that'd make the Warriors more scary. I don't think the Clippers would do that. They wouldn't trade. They wouldn't want to make the Warriors better. Probably wouldn't be the best idea. Lastly, they were talking about blowing up the Spurs. They talked about it a little bit. Now, I'm wondering if Greg Popovich would be willing to work with Dre Jordan. Not sure what they would give up, but if Aldridge had some help down low, it might be a good look. So those are all of my random put DeAndre Jordan somewhere scenarios. I saw one that talked about him going to the Bucks, but I don't like that, and it's unfair because the Bucks are already the Bucks. Everyone, if all the players in the Bucks, if all of them stood next to each other and like their pinky fingers touched, if all of them stood next to each other and held hands, they would like go around. They would reach from New York to San Francisco. They're already too tall and they're too long. And no, they don't get to have a 7-footer with amazing hops. They don't get to have that. I think I feel like Giannis is already 7 foot. No, it's not fair. I'm not going to talk about that. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about the game of the night, the pick of the night, and I also want to tell you about the new Steph Curry shoe because it looks like Under Armour finally got it right. It looks like they're doing something cool. So you guys hang tight. I'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway, brought to you by the GSMC Basketball Podcast Network. If you guys weren't here for the last segment, I went ahead and told you about how I'm going to work out a trade for Dre Jordan and get him on the Warriors somehow, some way, just because I feel like the Warriors should be more dominant and you should always want to dominate. I also talked about some other ways, some other teams you could possibly work out on, and I gave you a little bit of life advice. I told you when you need to let it go, it's time to let it go. So, speaking of the Warriors and life advice and letting things go, it seems like the Under Armour crew finally got it right this time. They were, what's the word? I'm just going to say they were drowned with an overwhelming amount of criticism by the Steph Curry shoes they released last year. They released shoes that were basically made fun of in every single way. They would call them Nike Air and then put something funny at the end. The Nike Air I'm barbecuing right now shoe, Nike Air Father's Day shoe, Nike Air. All they gave me were these stupid shoes, even though they weren't Nikes, but you get it. Like Nike Air put a name there. That's kind of what they did with the name. And the designer of the shoe, he was not very happy about it. He was not, because we got to remember, right? The people who wear these basketball shoes, regardless, they have a great contract, right? And they're going to get buckets regardless. Like Steph Curry is going to get buckets in flip-flops. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't make that big of a difference. It makes a difference to him, but I mean, he puts the shoe on, he goes up there, he does the boogie, he gets 35 points, 6 assists and like 4 rebounds. It doesn't make that big of a difference to him. He plays golf. He's got other things going on. But there's a person that actually designs these shoes. And we're out here willy-nilly making fun of them, taking pictures of them, saying, hey, my grandpa wouldn't wear those shoes, or saying, hey, those shoes should have 16 Velcro straps on them, stuff like that. Or, hey, did those shoes come free with an electric blanket? No. When we say things like that, it hurts the feelings of the person designing the shoe. So the shoe designer, he said he was not very happy about the responses that they got about the shoe. So usually what they do with the shoe, from what they said, they draw a couple designs or whatever, and they ask Steph yes or no. Steph says yes or no, and they go on about their business. This time the guy was like, no, this time we need some real input. We need him to get like involved. We need words that coincide with what we can put together so we can convey something that's going to be great. They end up releasing the Steph Curry 4 because Steph said he wanted something that was sleek and fast, which I guess those words worked out great. They drew some stuff together. Steph circled one in a way that was so aggressive that they almost put a hole in the paper. That's what they said. This is an exaggeration by me. However, if I was to exaggerate it, I would do it in that way. He said sleek and fast. They released a shoe that's sleek and fast. It looks really incredibly, genuinely nice. It's got, I'm going to say, a silhouette upper. So instead of having that ankle brace area where it's all just clunky, like a boot, like a real life Timberland boot, they made it a little bit a little bit thinner. So like you have the ankle support, but you're not playing basketball in the boot, which is cool. So I'm actually kind of happy about the shoe. I don't really have a story on that. I just want to tell you guys that the new Steph Curry shoe out is really nice. And if you see it, you probably shouldn't make fun of it. And we know it's really good because it was Twitter machine approved. They put it on the Twitter and then Twitter didn't explode like the last ones. Cause we have tastemakers, we got gatekeepers. Now, if you put a shoe up and then 15 people say it's terrible, and then those 15 tweets are retweeted by 100 people each, now you have chaos on your hands. You know what 15 times 100 is? Chaos. That's what it is. 15 times 100 equals chaos. That's math class. So I'm happy for the shoe that came out. They look pretty nice. You guys should grab a pair. Joel Embiid the other day, he was approached about his bullying, about his court bullying, which, has gotten to a point where they've had to ask him about it because he's dunking on people and yelling at them, calling people the B word. And honestly, I'm not out there on the basketball court, so I'm fine with it. I'm okay. There was a time when this remarkable athlete, Sean Kemp, dunked on a guy, and when he dunked on him, he landed on him, and then he pointed at him and then ran away, and it was okay. He did this thing with two fingers and pointed at him and just ran away, and that's cool. But if that was me, I would be upset. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's not disrespectful for him to just yell at people and bang on them, call them the B word. It's entertaining to me on this side, though. When they asked Joel Embiid about it, he basically said, I'm just here having fun. If guys are getting their feelings hurt, that's too bad. But I'm a big guy. I'm 7'2". Nobody wants to see me. Now, I hold issue with that because from what I gather, based on my research based on my research of combat, based on situations I may or may not have been involved in, because at one point I was a bouncer. I've been around place. I've done some things. So usually when someone has to announce their attributes, when people announce their attributes, it's usually not, when you have to announce your attributes, it's usually because there might be, it's usually not, how would I say this? It's not a vote of confidence. When you have to announce your attributes, it's not a vote of confidence. Not a disclaimer. When someone says, hey man, you don't want these problems, that's a disclaimer. When someone says, I'm 7'2", nobody wants it. Usually if you're 7'2", you don't have to tell someone that you're 7'2". Now, if I'm walking down the street and I happen to bump into Floyd Mayweather, I don't know he's Floyd Mayweather. I don't know he is, but he's 5'6". He's 140, 150. I bump into him. I'm like, hey, square up. And he's like, hey man, you don't want these problems. That's just a disclaimer. That's like, now, if I bumped into Joel Embiid and he's like, yo man, I'm 7'2". I'd be like, wait a minute. Why are you telling what? And I'm looking up. I'm pointing my finger up. It's upward right now, you guys. I'm pointing up. Why are you telling me that you're 7'2"? I know you're 7'2". So I'm just saying Joel Embiid should watch out how he should know the difference between disclaimers and advertising attributes. Because if you have to advertise your attributes, sometimes there's a time where that might be a sign of this. It's just not the biggest vote of confidence for you to be 7'2" and then tell me you're 7'2". Like I know you're 7'2". So it's going to be interesting when he dunks and yells at the wrong person. It'll be interesting. I don't know. Maybe he'll accidentally dunk and yell at David West. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see that happen. The pick of the night. First, I'm going to give you guys the game of the night. I'm going to give you guys the game of the night. The game of the night is going to be OKC against Detroit. For those of you that don't watch basketball, but you listen to this because you love hearing my amazing, silky, soft voice, Detroit is 11-6. I know you can't name any players on their team, but they do have Reggie Jackson still. They do have Dre Jordan, and they have Harris. In case you don't know who Harris is cold. You guys should see him play. He's averaging 18 buckets per game. And OKC is finally putting it together. They're on a 6-game winning streak. So you should check them out right now. So, they were kind of having some issues before, but after coming off of a win against the Warriors, having a couple days rest in that game, Westbrook had 34. Melo gave us a dub, and Paul George gave us a dub. With that, it sounds like they're putting things together. I believe you guys should watch them play. And it's in OKC. So when the game is in OKC, it's going to be a hellacious affair. You already know. You're 100% sure. Just because Oklahoma doesn't really have any professional sports teams, unless you want to call their college teams professional teams, which for what the coaches make, then I mean they might as well be professional teams, but they don't really have any professional teams. So the OKC games they're jubilant. You have to go. They're amazingly jubilant. Please enjoy. The pick of the night. Are you guys ready for this? Because I'm going to give you the pick of the night. And I've been giving out these picks. And if you check out the past shows, check out the last, I don't know, since I've been on the last 4 or 5 shows, I've been giving you guys some fire. So I'm gonna need you to take advantage of this. Please do. Please. All right. The pick of the night is going to be the New Orleans Hornets against the Phoenix Suns. It's Hornets -6.5, and it's in Phoenix. They want you to think that the Phoenix Suns have a chance to win this game. And they might have a chance to win this game, but the Pelicans are rolling right now. They're rolling. And the Twin Towers are at it. Boogie is giving them 30. Anthony Davis is healthy. He's giving you 25. They're an issue right now. So it's -6.5 on New Orleans. I'll need you to sign up for that. And let me know how it goes. So with that said, let me know how you feel, what's going on, how you're enjoying the show, how things are going in your personal life. Send me anything. I'll respond because I appreciate the love. I know you guys could be anywhere in the world right now, but just here with me, and I appreciate that. So you can reach out to us at GSMC_basketball on the Twitter machine at GSMC_basketball. I thank you for your time. I will talk to you guys next week. Live long and prosper.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.